right, so we're going to stay with digitalisation now and look at experiences from the field. Very pleased to hand over to Anna Sitharam. That looked amazing, didn't it?
Astonishing, actually.
Should we just go?
Oh, I was yeah, I was going to say that until I saw the last answer, and then I thought, phew, you know, actually we need some sensible people here too. Anyway, thank you so much. So in this session, we're going to look at real-world examples of digitalization and the journey that people and farmers and stakeholders in the food chain from farm to fork and their experiences. But before we do that, I just want to get a sense of how you, the audience, are adapting to all things digital. So whether you are a farmer, a producer, work in the agri-food sector, a policymaker or an other, let's see how you're doing. So can you please open the poll on Slido? Thank you. Right, okay, so here are the questions. Where are you in the digital transition journey? All in. Digital tools are my secret weapon. Dipping my toes in. My cat's probably got more tech savvy than I am. Dipping my toes in and starting to see some results. Still figuring it out. And trying to keep up. But the tech world moves so fast. And actually, I was thinking regarding that tech world moves so fast, I wonder what it'll be like when you're back here in a year's time, when you do the same AI demo. I bet it will have evolved and improved quite a lot. So, well, I'm glad to see that most of you are all in. And, well, no, actually, some of you are dipping your toes in. Okay. So anyway, you're sort of digitally literate, shall we say. That's good to know. We've also got a graphic facilitator. Sorry, guys at the back. Can you show us Valerie? I think she was charting the AI journey there. There we are. So she's beginning to chart the discussions. How can I help you, etc. So yes, we will hear more from Valerie later. So in this session, we're going to have 4 presentations, and then we're going to give you a chance to ask the speakers questions. Those of you who are watching remotely, please keep posting your questions on Slido. Those of you in the room, just like before, put your hand up, press the microphone, and we'd love to hear from you. So we're going to hear from our first speaker now, and I'd like to invite him up to the podium. Please welcome Vangelis Kyriakou, lead agronomist and coordinator of the Anifion Bioproducers Group from Greece, who's going to tell us about his company's digital journey. Over to you.
Καλημέρα Ευρώπη.
Good morning, Europe. Good morning, Brussels. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to begin by warmly thanking the organizers for this unique opportunity to exchange best practice and views on technology in this sector of agriculture. It's very much an honor to participate in such a dialogue with Clara, Cecilia, and Trevor, amongst others, whose knowledge and specialization show how important it is that we cooperate for a more sustainable agriculture in the future.
Όπως ακούσατε, ονομάζομαι Βαγγέλης Κυριάκου.
My name is Vangelis Kyriakou. I am an agronomist in I head Anifion Greece, and I'm a producer myself of citrus and olives. Our group is based in Argolida, and we work every day to grow high-quality organic products based on citrus and, of course, olives, so olive oil. in particular. We are committed to sustainable development via long-term cooperation and innovation, which take advantage of technology, whilst at the same time we want fair handling of all stakeholders. So we support organic farming, and we work to create a working environment where tradition meets the challenges of the future. So my commitment is beyond that of an agronomist. As a member of the farming community, I understand the daily challenges faced by farmers. So I consider collaborations with organizations to be very valuable. Organizations such as Gaia Epichirin, which is an alliance of agricultural associations, and which brings together, amongst others, Neuropublic, which is an innovative informatics and technology company. This type of cooperation is not just a professional obligation, it's a strategic choice to strengthen the sustainability of our businesses. I'd like to share with you today how a digitalization project can work towards helping our businesses. I'm not talking about this from the point of view of the Agriculture Ministry of Greece, but someone who is day to day in the field and aware of all the challenges that farmers faced. So I have been for years now contributing to in the introduction of innovative methods in Greece. So let's see what is so special about this particular case. This project, Digital Transformation of the Agricultural Sector, was a national initiative which takes place within a broader context of next generation EU funding. It has a clear objective, which is to provide Greek producers with cutting-edge technological solutions to increase productivity, reduce costs, and protect the environment. So the technical infrastructure of this project involves drones, data collection, infrastructure, unmanned aerial systems, and it operates across 13 regions. I would like to say that this is all based on a central platform, IT platform, and there are a lot of recommendations issued downstream. We started out in March of 2024. It's already been set up and covers now 70% of Greece's agricultural land. And 21 of the most important crops are covered. So we've got olives, cereals, fruit and vegetables, amongst others. So we are developing the platform, and it's so as to have a fully integrated farming management via that platform. However, this transition is not just about introducing technological infrastructure, setting it up. It's about a synergy between tradition and innovation, because that can help to bridge the gap between modern policies and the needs of producers. It's a unique opportunity for all of us, bringing together farmers via associations, cooperatives, or other types of association that operate in the field. So via that process, farmers obtain the tools that they need to improve their production whilst reducing costs and indeed adapting to the constantly changing environmental conditions. At this point, I felt a wave of nostalgia for Greece. So if you don't mind, I'd like to return there immediately, straight away, and meet a friend and collaborator who uses the technologies I've just been mentioning. Tassos, can you hear us?
Δεν σ' ακούμε, Τάσο.
We can't hear you, Tassos. No sound.
Τασούλη, μας ακούς?
Tassos, can you hear us? Yes, now we hear you. Now we hear you. Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning from Greece. My name is Tassos Maltezos. I am a farmer. I produce organic olives and citrus. Yes, yes, we can hear you. So my farm is in Argolida, in the Peloponnese, an area which is famous for citrus production. Now, today we have sunny weather, but also strong winds. So the infrastructure, we cannot show it to you in real time because of the wind would interfere too much with the sound. We wouldn't be able to hear you, or you wouldn't be able to hear us. But I would like to say that my farm is a family business, and since it's been in existence since 1960, as I say, it's grapefruit, lemons, mandarins, oranges. And we've started out with olives last year. It's all organic, and we emphasize quality and sustainability. That's a commitment we've made. I'd like to show you our infrastructure, but I can't, as I say, because of the weather conditions. But I hope that the video will give you an impression.
Θα θέλαμε κάποιες ερωτήσεις να κάνουμε.
Are there any questions?
I just wanted to ask you, can you describe one challenge that you've met implementing this new technology?
Σίγουρα μια από τις μεγαλύτερες.
Yes, one of the major challenges that we have faced adopting these technologies was convincing my older relatives of their value, that it was worth doing. As you might be aware, the older generation, the parents and grandparents, like to rely on their own experience, of course, gathered over years. So I had to strike a balance between respect for that traditional knowledge as handed down and the need for innovation. So the older generation were concerned, but our cooperative had adopted since 2018 some of these practices of smart agriculture. And so the older generation were able to witness how their knowledge could be enhanced by these tools. And we've seen results now in terms of the crops themselves, but also in terms of their daily lives and the structure of their days. So they've been convinced and understand now how it works, and they've changed their position, and it's become for them a daily reality.
Them round, your older relatives. Thank you so much, Tassos. It's been great to see the project working and how it is improving and helping your farming. Thank you so much. Back to you, Vangelis.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
So are you going to tell us some more, or shall I ask you a couple of questions? Do you have more presentation to make, Vangelis?
Yes.
All right.
Τάσο, σε ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ για
So thank you, Tassos, very much for your intervention, your words straight from the office next to the field do show us how these projects can make a decisive step towards not only digitalisation, but of course a collective benefit. But this all goes beyond the farming community, because we have targeted services available now. And at the end of the day, consumers also benefit from better products. Better decisions are possible as well by farming communities. And it's a better tool for planning the future activities. So it's not just an investment in technology, it's an investment in our communities and the future. But of course, the future is full of challenges, such as, of course, climate change, markets that are volatile, stringent regulatory frameworks, the shortage of agricultural labourers, which is acute in Greece, perhaps elsewhere as well, international competition, and the need to reduce costs. So the same question keeps coming back. Uncertainty. Uncertainty is perhaps the greatest enemy of farmers, which affects their daily lives and professional plans. So they need tools that can help to remedy that, to create greater predictability or clarity as to the future, because of course the weather events hit them first, and they need to be able to act preventively and effectively. So any system for foreseeing extreme weather events can be a radical change for the better, so they can protect their crops and therefore their incomes. Now, of course, there are situations in which there's very little time, too little time to react. So that was the case in Spain recently and in Larissa in Greece, in Thessaly recently. But with frost, for example, good time, information in good time can make all the difference. Now, those who devise a policy, so the regional and authorities, for example, can also benefit from this and improve resilience. What is at stake is clear. We need to keep rural communities alive, protect our producers, and ensure that the food chain is sustainable. Talking about the food chain, this project becomes even more important in that context, because we need, of course, to ensure that we use resources sparingly, avoid wastage, and limit environmental footprint. Of course, crops that can do that improve their market position. Now, any innovative project faces challenges, which we have to face decisively and with vision. These challenges, for example, would include this transition from traditional to cutting-edge technology. This is what Tassos was talking about before. Regional support centers can provide training and guidance. However, then in a world in which data is power, it's important to protect the privacy of farmers. They must be aware that all the data is only used to improve production and in full compliance with European rules. Then we've got climate uncertainty. That is always an unknown factor, an unknown parameter. You can't fully predict the weather, of course, but we do need to have the greatest possible and most reliable information. Finally, a last thought I'd like to share with you. Farming is not just a way of producing food. It is the heart of our rural world. It is our link to the land, to tradition, but also to the future. So any field, any crop is a history, is a story which needs to continue and remain sustainable for the future. The challenges are many, but those challenges give us an opportunity to redefine agriculture, to make it evolve, combining tradition now with innovation and creating a model that is fit for purpose and puts the future on a solid foundation. Imagine a future in which we have a pan-European technological infrastructure to support not only farmers, but consultants, researchers, and the politicians and planners, but even consumers. A European network that would enable us to monitor and manage the land with precision and efficiency, so as to make fully justified decisions. It's a simple thought. Agriculture can be a driving force for change, and change that begins in the field, in our communities, and involves collective effort. Those of us who are active in the field can drive that process into the benefit of future generations. So I call on you to think of that, to imagine that situation. So technologies which are a prototype for Europe as a whole, which are transnational and which bring people closer to the land as well as, and therefore our common future. Thank you very much for sharing this moment with me. Change starts with us, and we can all together shape the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vangelis, and also to Tassos from the field. Just a quick question to you, Vangelis. So what role do you think digitalization has helped you achieve your goals to access new markets, for instance?
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ για την ερώτηση.
Thank you for the question. Digitalization of farming is something which is of concern to the whole chain, really. We are organic farmers in my cooperative, so in that sense, we're not exactly mainstream because of our methods of production. But that means that, of course, by definition, we belong to the type of producer who's looking for innovation. The use of digitalization in farming is innovative, and so we are among the vanguard, if you like, of producers who want to bring this in and use it so as to open new markets and give consumers an opportunity to trust us even more and to trust our products more.
And you know, really positive. Thank you so much again. Come and take a seat because you'll be taking part in the discussion. I'm now going to call our next speaker, Clara Bonito Pacheco. So if you could please come up to the podium. And Clara is a goat herd and founder of the project Entre Lobos Pasto Salvaje. I hope I said that correctly. And she's the 2023 EU award winner of the Best Organic Farmer, Female Spain. So over to you.
Buenos días. Bueno, soy Clara Bonito de...
Hello, I'm Clara Bonito. The Entre Lobos project
Bueno, consta de un rebaño de...
It consists of a herd of 160 goats of an autochthonous breed, certified for organic production. So it's mainly wild mountain pastures in the northern mountains of Madrid. And we have a flock that we work on with modeling of the landscape, and of course we provide other benefits such as fire prevention. It's a Mediterranean ecosystem which includes a breeding and free roaming area for the Iberian wolf. So the herd is guarded by 4 livestock protection dogs. So initially, well, we began in 2015 with only 7 goats, and in 2018 we tested our own geopositioning system with a recycled smartphone powered by solar panels. That was our first digital bell, and by 2021 this became our primary professional activity with 120 goats now, and the first telematic herding collars were purchased as a pilot project for testing extensive livestock farming. Finally, in 2022, we were certified as an organic production unit.
press the button going forward.
Sorry. Vale. Bueno, ¿qué necesitamos para poder llevar?
So what do you need for this telematic shepherding? Obviously, you need a collar for the animals with a solar panel, and there's a number per animal, of course, and it's, as I say, powered by solar panel. It connects with the app. So it's very important that each animal has a collar
Esta herramienta.
to be able to use this tool most effectively. So how does it work? The animals wearing the collars have restrictive movement within an invisible pen previously designated by the shepherd. When an animal approaches the edge of that invisible pen, the collar issues a warning sound, preventing the animal from crossing the pen. The animals have been trained to react to these sounds with conventional methods. Of course, we can change the parameters at any time and allow individuals to move to other areas wherever necessary. So how is it possible to get this working? Each collar has a GPS and wireless network connection, and so the grazing area is drawn on the app's map, and then the collars are allocated to that area. So it's possible to exclude parts of the pen, and the grazing zone is loaded and activated in each collar through wireless data, normally using the mobile phone infrastructure. So these areas are called exclusion zones, and when the animals approach their limits, as I say, there's a sound issued which animals recognize as a not cross barrier. So you can, of course, shepherd the flock with this technology, and it's possible to have different groups in different areas, but operate the system in parallel, and the geographical position of each animal in the herd is recorded every 15 minutes on the map. And so knowing the habits and needs of the herd allows the shepherd to predict the movements and guide them, of course, at will by modifying the grazing limits, so the delimitation of the zone. So to exploit this technology, maximally you need to target the grazing, so achieving regeneration of soil and vegetation. Controlled movement of the herd is key to regain grazing that prioritizes the use of land pasture. So the livestock farming is linked to territory and integrated into the ecosystem in this way. It becomes an environmentally more sustainable and friendly activity. We're able to adequately manage the herd grazing times in each piece of land. The economic benefits include access, for example, to wider pasture areas where we could not easily control flocks before. You have the possibility now of making ecosystem services more profitable, so reducing feed supplements. You can reduce fuel use and save time when it comes to combining this work with administrative tasks. The fuel savings occur because you know where the animals are at any moment, and you have more time to spare for other activities such as commercial activity, promoting the products. And you also reduce veterinary costs because, in fact, overall, there is an improvement to the health of the herd. So you can reduce, for example, the loss of animals thanks to the use of these collars. Herd rhythms are no longer subordinated to those of the shepherd, so self-regulation of their feeding, rumination and resting times with constant access to quality pastures increases the supply of botanical species, and is something you can do as well in the rations, improving nutritional balance. Constant rotation of grazing, roosting and resting areas reduces the transmission of illnesses, disease, and of course reduces stress levels. You've got environmental benefits as well. The removal of physical barriers allows wildlife populations to reconnect, facilitates conservation work in areas with protection status through grazing exclusion areas only where it's deemed necessary. You've got more carbon capture, improvement of the soil's water retention capacity, and promoting biodiversity through restoration of grasslands and associated fauna. You can control the undergrowth of Pyrophilus species and reduce risks to wildlife, in particular from fires. It's also possible to create more resilient landscape design. It makes it possible to have coexistence with large carnivores such as the Iberian wolf, and promotes the work or working with livestock protection dogs. And it also means that you can reconcile this working life with your family life much better. Challenges, well, lost collars, poor battery charging on cloudy days, so without sun, and there have been problems with tourist activities, so the coexistence with the recreational uses of territory. We've received public support for this from Agro Assessor, for example, also Next Generation EU funding, which doesn't cover maintenance, however, only the purchase of the basic infrastructure. In terms of the future, it would be very helpful if we could have public aid to cover the running costs of maintaining this technology, making it more accessible. Telematic grazing offers a great opportunity to ensure continuity of pastoral activity in Europe's forests with digitalized replacement. There are at least 2 startups in Spain with this prototype, one of them in Madrid, which we think is more adapted to extensive farming, such as my operation. Thank you.
Very much, Clara. Really impressive. Please do take a seat, and we'll continue with you during the Q&A. So I'd like to hear from our next speaker, Cecilia Rygaard, and she's the CEO, Food Chain by Blockchain from Sweden. Cecilia, over to you.
Thank you. I'm really proud to be here, representing groundbreaking innovation for solving a lot of the problems farmers and food producers have that has actually been discussed here in these very interesting days here in Brussels. This especially according to traceability, verification and administration. We are helping farmers and food producers respond to and comply with legislation, certification and industry standards in an easier and more reliable way. To reach a more sustainable food chain, we need to have restriction controlled by law. We also need to be able to control that farmers and producers are following these restrictions. Greenwash and food fraud is a big problem in this business, and we can't deny that. But we need to make it much easier for farmers and food producers to follow the rules, report and verify their actions. We also need to make it easier for consumers to take part of the full story of the products. That is a fundamental part of making consumers more interested in buying products with high sustainability values. This is all connected, and this is also what we are trying to achieve at Food Chain by Blockchain. We are founded in 2019 and are developing unique systems at real state-of-the-art and next level for traceability and verifications in the food chain, from the farm to the consumer's table. We have, together with investors and fundings, put 3 million euro in development and are now expanding and also at the stage of inviting new investors who want to be a part of this journey to really put an impact in changing the food industry. I am the founder and CEO of Food Chain by Blockchain. My parents and ancestors have been farmers for generations. I am very much aware of the challenges in the daily work of farming. I have also been working very close to farmers, specifically in organic production and with different values like regional, local, or creating biodiversity. Here I found the inspiration to create a system that will change how information, data, and also the story of food is shared and preserved through the food chain all the way to the consumer's table. Food Chain by Blockchain is born in the fields and address farmers' real problems and challenges at everyday basis, trying to live up to legislation and consumer demands. Our system is a completely new way to connect farmers, processors, retailers, and consumers. That drives sustainability and unlock possibilities of profit. Most people have understood that humanity must do something about the way we produce and consume food, while maintaining and even increasing profit. Food Chain by Blockchain is a tool that can really make a difference in this necessary process. And we use the power of blockchain to accomplish this. At the same time, the food system lacks transparency and traceability. Authorities and consumers are increasingly demanding exactly this. The requirements for traceability have existed for a long time. This is not new. Traceability lies in piles of papers at farmers' and producers' offices. This is also a silo-shaped system that requires huge administration and prevents free flow of data and transparency. As somebody said here in another session, no farmer becomes a farmer to work at the office. But the truth is that farmers, to a large extent, are slaves under administration. Today's lack of system for handling this means lack of data and also price and development inhibiting. We want to enable data sharing and for the data to run seamlessly between actors, farmers, and their customers. And at the same time, enable other major benefits: time saving, value enhancement, brand building, and food safety. This is also set high demands on the technique in the system and its possibility to secure integrity and protect critical and sensitive data. That is where the blockchain technology comes into the picture. Most of you might heard of blockchain in the context of cryptocurrency. But that is just one way the technique of blockchain can be used. Blockchain combines a unique way of sharing and protecting data to keep integrity between the actors in the same data flow. Simply described, is blockchain a number of connected nodes, storing the same information, building a chain with this data. This ensures it's very hard to manipulate the data one is locked in the chain. Using the power of blockchain, it's possible to provide values as transparency, food safety, improved efficiency, and sustainability tracking on a totally new level. This can also generate higher trust from consumers. So how does this work in reality? Let me give you one example from our EIP projects: Digitalisation, traceability, added value, and sustainability in chicken production. This was a project together with the Research Institute of Sweden, the standard owner Svensk Sigill, and the farmers and the chicken producers at Bjärefågel, working with high-level standards for animal welfare and sustainability. Bjärefågel is also the third biggest chicken producer in the Swedish market. The system needed to cover the production chain from the mother animals at the hatcheries, data from the feed production, data from the stables like water and energy consumption, feed consumption, and the rate of growth of the chickens, mortality, etc. The system was installed at locations in the stable suitable for the different data points. Of course, this work was all done together with the farmers. When a specific procedure has been completed, the farmer used their mobile phone to scan the QR code. At each location, the QR code are linked to a specific task in the system, showing exactly the right possibilities for data to be added. The farmer adds the data into the system, where it's stored and can be reviewed later on. And here we can actually see in this specific picture the farmer are in the stable starting the feeding process. The slaughterhouse can in real time follow the growth of the chickens and optimize the right time for slaughtering. And this is a really crucial point for both farmers and slaughterhouse to get the highest payment for the chickens. The system will make this process much easier and at the same time making it possible for seamlessly provide data from the stables and also remind the farmer of important steps like vaccination of the chickens and cleaning of the stables. When the chickens arrive at the slaughterhouse, data from the slaughter process is added to data from the breeding. Data like time for slaughter, energy and water consumption, etc. At the end of the story, a QR code is put on the chicken product, and the consumer can scan the code and take part of interesting data like where the chicken grew up, information about the feed, and sustainability data. In this project, we also created a model for climate impact in real time. This is really groundbreaking, and we believe it's the first time that someone tried this, actually. Since the impact can be followed and therefore even be adjusted in real time, this can really make a difference in trying to reduce climate impacts at the farm and the slaughterhouse. Conclusions from the project was that the system, FCB production as it's called, could really help farmers in their daily work, reducing mistakes and fasten up and secure administrative processes. And now we are working for implementing this system in other production areas. Except from this system, food chain, FCB production, food chain by blockchain got other groundbreaking solutions on the market or on its way to the market. FemTrack is a really unique, innovative project where we, together with University of Lund, Research Institute of Sweden, and Sweden's second biggest chicken producer, Guldfågeln, are creating a blockchain-based system for life cycle assessments and life cycle cost in real time. Another system, FCB Verify, is already out on the market, playing a significant role in ensuring food safety and authenticity. There is a load of different certificates to be handled by farmers and food producers. The absolute most common remark by control is that companies do not have their supplier certificates in order. We have now launched a system enabling verification of certifications in real time with direct integrations to the certification bodies handling this problem. By switching to digital management of certifications in food business, we save a huge amount of time for all actors. Already Swedish customers are working in the system, and we are now starting sales on other markets. For example, together with the Nürnberg Messe in Germany, organizing the world's biggest organic fair, Biofach, where all the certificates of around 3,000 exhibitors have to be controlled and verified. Finally, President von der Leyen opened these days by saying in her speech that farmers are the weakest part in the food chain according to revenue and profit. This might be true, but at the same time, as I see it, farmers is also the strongest part in the food chain. It is at the farm values like sustainability and biodiversity are created, as well as carbon storage and microsystem services. Nowhere else. I believe that when this can be shown, proven and verified in an easy way, the future of farming is unlimited. This is what we are trying to do and are trying to achieve. At the very last, if you want to collaborate with us or want to be a part of Food Chain by Blockchain and solutions for the future, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for inviting me, and it's been an honor.
Thank you very much, Cecilia, and please do take a seat. And I'd now like to invite our final speaker, Trevor Boland, and he's a suckler beef farmer from Ireland.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the invite to speak here this morning. So my name is Trevor Boland. I'm a suckler and beef farmer in the northwest of Ireland in Sligo, and I'm farming in partnership with my father Joseph, and my wife Tara joined the partnership in 2022. And we have 3 small children, all under 3, and not yet working on the farm, but hopefully in the very near future. So the farm is situated in County Sligo, which is known as Yates County. And also there is a renowned tourist route which goes through the farm called the Wild Atlantic Way, and it runs from north to south through the farm. And it's a very scenic route and a very scenic place to live in. So my farming system is I'm a suckler and beef farmer. Sorry, now, 1 second. Yes, we're moving now. So my farming system is I'm a suckler and beef farmer. I calve the cows in the autumn time of the year. So that's August, September and October. And the cows are bred by artificial insemination. Slightly different from the AI that we were speaking about here earlier. AI in farming circles at the moment is known as artificial insemination rather than artificial intelligence. But hopefully we'll get there in the future. And the other thing I'd like to point out in this picture is the calf. So that's a calf born on my farm. That's the suckler cow, her mother beside her. And the tag that's in that calf, so that tag is put in at birth. And there's a DNA sample taken from that calf. And I'll speak a little bit later on about what happens to that DNA sample after it's sent away for analysis. Also outside the farm, I have some other interests. And I was recently appointed by the Irish Agricultural Minister to a commission on generation renewal. I suppose a lot of what we're speaking about here today and digital technology in farming will need a certain amount of generation renewal. And I was very happy to hear Commissioner Hansen recently speak about generation renewal in farming, and it's something that's going to be part of the next CAP, and I look forward to working with the Commissioner on that. So in terms of the family farm at home, so it is a family farm business. The aim is to produce suckler beef using the latest research, data, technologies to maximise the financial return to the family in the most sustainable way possible. So what is sustainability in farming? There's many different meanings. But to me, it's the farm business and the profitability of that farm business and a return for our labour and capital invested in the farm. We also have to be aware of the environment and regulations, and we also contribute to the local economy and communities. And by contributing to the local economy, the rural economy and communities, we're contributing to jobs and keeping people living in rural areas, which I think is very important. As farmers, we live and work in the environment every day, and it's important that we protect our environment around us, and we're proud of it. And that's why we have things like the Wild Atlantic Way running right past my farm on a daily basis, so tourists get to see the contribution we are making to the environment. But it also involves a contribution to the local community via social inclusion, sports activities, sports club, and getting involved with local activities. And we have a saying, it's hard to be green when you're in the red. And that is very important, that the farm has to be profitable, and it is a family farm business at the end of the day. But agriculture also delivers outside the farm gate, not just within the farm gate. And that is actually my farm at home that you can see there on the slides. So, how do I achieve these objectives of being sustainable and creating a farm profit? Using the digital tools available to us. So in Ireland, we have a national state agency called Teagasc. And Teagasc provides research, advisory and education services to the agricultural sector. And recently, Teagasc has set up a signpost programme, which is Farmers for Climate Action. And within the signpost programme, we have what's called Future Beef. And my farm is part of the Future Beef programme, and it's one of 22 demonstration farms nationwide, dotted all around the country. And the objective of these 22 farms is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from Irish agriculture, improve water quality, maintain and improve biodiversity, reduce cost and create more profitable and sustainable farming enterprises. And the 22 farms demonstrate best practice to other farmers within the region via social media, via the traditional media, and inviting groups in onto our farms to discuss the actions we are taking. So the actions we are taking, Teagasc has developed 12 steps to reduce greenhouse gases and create more profitable farming enterprises. And I'm proud to say I'm achieving all 12 steps. But just to go through the steps in some small detail for you, listed 1 to 12, the use of protected urea, applying lime to our soils, building and maintaining soil fertility, reducing chemical N, better grassland management, improving animal health, improving suckler herd quality, increasing calf output per cow, reducing age at first calving, reducing age at slaughter, and incorporating clover into our grass swards. And as I say, I'm proud to be completing all the measures on our farm, and it is adding to the environmental sustainability of the farm, but also the farm profitability. And as I say, if you can look after the soil will look after the grass will look after the cow, and the cow will look after you. So that is very important to me. So the digital tools that I use to complete them 12 steps, I'm going to concentrate on 3 digital tools today. Number 1 is PastureBase, number 2 is HerdWatch, and number 3 is ICBF. So ICBF is the Cattle Breeders Federation, and I'm going to concentrate a little bit more on that later on. But first of all, I want to talk about PastureBase. So PastureBase is a website developed where we measure grass and input grass measurements on a weekly basis. So in Ireland, we love grass. In fact, we love grass so much, we like to measure grass once a week at least, sometimes twice a week. We love it that much. And what we do is we feed that information then into PastureBase program, and it gives us the level of growth from the previous measurement. And from that level of growth and taking an overall cover on the farm, we're able to allocate grass to the livestock on the farm based on demand for the next week. And if there is surplus on the farm, we then save that surplus for the winter period where the cows and calves are housed. And if we have a shortage of grass, then we have to take actions within the next week to increase the growth levels or reduce demand for that week. In pasture-based, we also feed in soil sampling results, fertiliser usage and grass growth throughout the year. We take an opening cover in January, February, we measure it through March to September, and we take a closing cover in November, December. So that gives us a total amount of grass grown on the farm per year, which eventually leads then to we can match the stock numbers on the farm based on the amount of grass we can grow on that individual farm. There's 3 different ways traditionally used to measure grass on a farm. So you have a plate measure where you have a plate that actually goes down on the grass and measures the height of the grass and the density of the grass. You can cut and weigh the amount of grass in a square metre, or you can some very good farmers are able to just eyeball it and know how much grass is in that field and input that then and gives you your growth rates and all that sort of information. So the next programme I want to concentrate on is ICBF. So ICBF is Irish Cattle Breeders Federation. It's a national database of the entire beef and dairy herd in the country. Huge amount of information in this database, and I suppose the next challenge for farmers is to be able to use this information that's available. So as mentioned previously, the calf, once they're born, they're tagged at birth. The DNA sample taken from the calf, it's sent away for analysis. And the genes within that sample are analysed to predict the future performance of that animal, be it from a beef herd perspective or in terms of that animal goes on to be a suckler cow, in terms of their fertility, possible gestation length, calving interval, birth size, weight, calving ease, the performance of the animal from a beef point of view in terms of slaughter age, predict slaughter age, grade, fat score, all that sort of information. And traditionally, I suppose we would have been feeding that data in and getting results, but that takes a long time to feed through. So now what we're doing is tagging the calf at birth and getting the genotype sample and able to predict what that calf will be able to do over its lifetime. So there's a formula then been generated based on the cost involved in producing livestock and the sales value. And using that formula, every animal is then given a Eurostar value. That Eurostar value is used to select the next generation of farm animals. So as a farmer, that's the type of information I'm using the digital tools. It's using that Eurostar value on every animal that I have in my herd and what animals I should use to select the next generation of breeding animals on the farm. So you can have it at an individual level or you can have it at a whole herd level. And there's a number of different reports. So these are just some snippets of what's on the website, so we can go in and look at different reports. We can look at the ancestry of an animal, so that's the entire ancestry of all the animals in the herd, you can pull up with the click of a button. You can look at the birth data from that's information from a suckler cow. You can look at the birth data of her last 8 or 9 calves there. You can pull up a whole herd Eurostar value and you can see the trend over the number of years. You can look at each individual animal, so you can click on an animal and it'll give you the predicted carcass value, predicted conformation, and that's all fed into an overall value then that you can use. And I suppose what we're trying to do is get farmers to delve deeper into the individual traits. So you might have a 5-star animal, but it's important that you delve down to see how is that animal contributing and what traits you need to improve on, be it milk or carcass value or that sort of information. So we have a lot of information. As this previous speaker was talking about, we have a lot of information from a lot of different sources. So the next step will be to integrate all that information. And Board BIA, the Irish Food Board and Sustainability Quality Assurance providers will have developed a programme called AgNav. And AgNav is going to correlate the information coming from the different sources. So from Teagasc, from Board BIA, from ICBF into a central database. And what this is going to do is we have climate action targets in agriculture. And this AgNav programme will allow us to use the digital tools that's available to us to reduce emissions and hit our climate mitigation targets. So it'll enable delivery against climate action targets for the agri-sector. So first of all, we have to establish a baseline data. A farmer sustainability survey will be inputted. The data recording that we've been recording for years will be inputted and analysed. We have national measurements and farm actions to take at a national level. There'll be a farm forecast or an action plan at farm level, And we'll be able to benchmark then against similar farming systems at a similar level. And all of this information then will feed in to reduce greenhouse gases on the farm, but also deliver more profitable farming systems throughout the farming enterprises. So just to summarise, the results of digitalisation in an Irish context so far. So we have a national database of the entire herd, beef and dairy herd in the country through ICBF. Borbia is operating our quality assurance scheme, and Teagasc have a number of different programmes, one of which, as I discussed, is the Future Farm programme, Future Beef, which I'm part of as a demonstration farm. We have climate action plans and targets to meet, and that involves measurement and actions taken to prove the actions that we're taking on farm to reduce the gases emissions from Irish agriculture. And we're also taking the first steps to genotyping the entire suckler beef herd, and we're well on the way to doing that. At farmer level then, it's about using digital tools to get farm performance reports, measure actions taken on farms, deliver reports and deliver an action list of measures we need to take. We'll be able to benchmark that then against similar type farms and discussion groups and discuss the actions that's going on to improve the farm output, improve the profitability of the farm and reduce the emissions. We'll have targets and KPIs, and all these targets and KPIs will come from the reports from the data that's been entered to date. Financial performance will also be measured in terms of profit monitors, so we'll be looking for more farmers to produce profit monitors to show the profit at farm level. And then, as discussed, sustainability at farm level is about the profitability and the emissions, both with inside and outside the farm gate in terms of the rural economy and the rural family farms that we have in Ireland. So I'd like to thank you for your attention today, and I welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Come and take a seat. I think we've got, that really is so complex and completely next level farming, quite mind-blowing, quite honestly. Do take a seat. Right, we're going to take a couple of questions from the room and hopefully one from Slido. So if you have a specific question for someone, do say, but raise your hand and I will try and get as many questions in as possible. Does anyone have a question for our panel? In the meantime, can I just look at one of the Slido questions and perhaps one of you would care to answer? Do the farmers provide data collected through the system showed to administrations? Oh, that one's just disappeared. Let me just have another look. Oh, do the farmers provide data collected through the system showed to administrations for the purpose of statistics and policy analysis? So again, this, I suppose, reflects some of the concerns about where the data is going and how it's being shared. Trevor, is that something that you think about and where your data is going?
Yeah, that's certainly going to be an issue in the future, and it's an issue at the moment. I suppose from an Irish perspective, it is a national database we have there in terms of ICBF, and we are paying into it. So we will be entrusting a lot of data to that organisation, and we do need that data protected. But we also need to get information back from providing that data. So if we take our time to input that data, and it is inputted at a farm level via maybe your phone or a laptop, so it is inputted and it's time and effort by the farmer to input that data. So we do need to get feedback in terms of an output from the database that we're inputting the data into. And I suppose farmers might be concerned that data will be used against them in the future. But maybe the other way of looking at it is we can use that data to show the positive impact we're having in terms of rural economy and the environment, water quality, and a number of different measures we're taking on the farm. And maybe that's slightly misunderstood at the moment, that we are actually taking a number of measures on farm, and we need to promote and give results of the data to show what we are doing on farm.
Thank you. Here's a question. Who's the data owner? Cecilia, you're also looking at this. When you're considering this, who do you think owns the data?
Yes, in our system, it's definitely the farmer or the one who puts the data into the system is also the one who is owning the data. And I think this is a really relevant question and something to put much thought about, because the one who owns the data also, the data has a great value and it can also be used in good ways or in bad ways. So it's a very important question to think through who owns the data. But in our example, it's pretty easy. But there are other systems that you might think it over.
Vangelis, I can see you were nodding there. What do you think about the data and where it's going and who owns it?
Το θέμα των δεδομένων είναι
The question of data. The question of data is crucial. And the use, of course, of that data produced by each farmer. Now, we're talking about data that relates to the land and the meteorological conditions. So what is the temperature, for example, in the field? What is the humidity level? What is the rainfall that we've had? So it's data which I believe are not really personal data. Of course, it's vitally important data because it can lead us to conclusions on farming practices. So having that data available to use and then using its use by specialists such as us can lead to very useful advice. So in our case, I don't really think there's a problem in terms of personal data protection. At a later stage, if, however, you gather data about each farmer's practices, what amounts of fertilizers or pesticides they're using, or what exactly those products are, there you're in a different situation. There you might need to have proper control of that data. But it's something that will become relevant. We don't have the problem now with the current platform we are setting up. But as I say, if the data set expands and becomes more complex, then it will need, I would say, European level management, because we're talking about platforms that every EU citizen is likely to have access to.
Yes, at the front there in the orangey top.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Jacques Wolfert from Wageningen University in Research in the Netherlands, and I've been involved in. Does this one work? Yes, this one works, yeah. So my name is Jacques Wolfert from Wageningen University in Research in the Netherlands. And thank you very much for the nice presentations. And I've been working already for a long time also in this area of digital innovation and agriculture. And I saw already many applications also on collars, on animals and blockchain and also other applications. And I was also triggered by the comment from Clara that there were now also 2 other startups looking into this. But all of you are operating, let's say, on a national level. And I think one of the main challenges is from the tech provider side to find sustainable business models. I saw many of these startups coming and going. And I think most of them rely, but also Just, for example, is publicly funded, so they rely a lot on public funding, subsidies. So, yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges in this area is to find sustainable business models for these tech providers. But it's also a multiple challenge because you also need to have a business case for the farmer, for example, but also other actors that are involved. And I think that is one of the main challenges. So maybe you can comment on that, how you look at that.
Would anyone like to comment on the fact that the tech providers need to find sustainable business models, but it's also a risk for the farmer, perhaps, in venturing into these new digital projects?
I can start answering a bit. Of course, you need to have a sustainable business model for your company. I can see that otherwise you're not a company. So I think that is the the start when you try to doing something and accomplish something. So we very early started dialogue with the farmers and the food producers to find out what are their willingness to pay for. And we pretty fast found out that cutting administration in time is a really high value, because everyone hates that, actually. They don't like that. So that was one really part that they were willing to pay for. And then we sat down and tried to calculate how many hours do an average farmer put on administration. And you can pretty fast summarize it that it's a lot of time. And then you can easily put a value on that time. So then you know how much can they pay for this kind of system. It's just one way that we have discussed around this business model. There are other ways as well, but I think that is a very good way to start.
Trevor, did you want to? From the other side, can you use the microphone? Sorry.
So I think it's easy to see the business case from the farmer side, but then from the provider side, is this willingness to pay an amount of money? Is that enough to build a sustainable business model? Also, if you look at it's usually only applied at the national level, and there are only just a few farmers, maybe hundreds or thousands that you can supply. So yeah, is that enough if they want to pay, for example, 100 euros a year? Yeah, that's of course then you don't have a budget to really innovate and to have a sustainable business model as a provider.
Well, I mean, that's for a provider to answer, presumably. Trevor, did you want to come in?
Yeah, just a quick comment on that. So at an Irish level, we're very much at a national level in terms of the database for ICBF. And what we're talking about here today in terms of protecting that data, the fact that it's owned by a national organisation rather than a private company means the data is more protected in our eyes. If that data was to be held by a private company, it would be more expensive for the farmer to get access to the reports that we need. So by holding it in a national database and taking a contribution from the farmer and a contribution from industry and a contribution from national government in Europe, it's centrally owned rather than being owned by a private company that could be then sold on or used for purposes that maybe we're not happy with it being used, whereas we have a certain amount of control when it's owned by a national database. And that's to the benefit of the farmer in Ireland.
Thank you. Actually, I'd love to go on talking, but we are running out of time. So you're all here. You've had fascinating presentations. Congratulations to all of you. And I'm sure the audience would like to speak to you in the coffee break. But we do have Valerie, who's been working hard on the picture. And Valerie, can we have a look at Valerie's drawing, please, to see what she's come up with? Virtual fencing. Then we have Clara's fantastic goat herding, and combining tradition and innovation. I think that really does sum it up from the experiences in the field. A round of applause for our speakers, please. And over to Sasha. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Clara, I know they're working dogs, but your dogs are absolutely gorgeous as well. So lovely. Thank you so much for all your examples. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, Anya's actually going to take you through all some of the challenges and getting over those challenges when you're developing these tools. In the break, you will find that there are lots of different stands out there. And if today is your first day, or indeed if you have been here for a few days, you'll find new people now. So you can speak to Icarus. They're looking at rural connectivity. Also, Salah mentioned earlier about the European space industry looking at this, and they have a stand out there as well. So we'll see you back in the room in about 20 minutes from now. So if you're watching us online, we'll see you in 20 minutes for more. Thank you very much. Thank you.